Okay, so usually people, what they know about astrology is the astrological forecast in the newspaper. They might think, it's superstitious. They might think it's nonsense. So when I come to astrology, I look at it very, very differently. So it's very important for me to lay the ground first, say what is astrology for me, coming both from my really 20 years of researching astrology, never knowing enough, always trying to go to it deeper. My own research, live attempts to connect to knowledge, research of ancient knowledge, new knowledge, hours of looking at the stars, posing as constellations, doing the music of the stars, all sorts of different things. And from the knowledge of the Iman, which is the spiritual way I'm taking part of for 16 years, that mainly taught me how to research things and not to take for granted things that other people say, but really how to connect to the live knowledge itself. So for me, astrology has 3 levels to it. One is the level of the actual astrological influences, okay? Because we're living on a planet which has a neighborhood of a whole solar system that we are part of a whole galaxy that we are part of a whole universe that we are part of. And the same way we can't imagine that we are not affected, by the neighborhood that we grew in and how, our home feels and looks like, and our parents and our culture. Yes, we are very much affected by it. So we are affected by the grander neighborhood that we are in. And we're talking about very big beaconing powers, whether it be the planets or the stars or the universe itself, that all the time influences us. And if we learn to understand what's going on in that neighborhood, then we can really better understand how we are influenced by it. So we constantly have changes in our neighborhood, just as we have the changes of season, and that affects us. We feel differently in the spring or in the middle of the winter, and our larger neighborhood, our solar system, and the stars around us really affect us. Yes, we know that the sun affects people's mood. If someone is lacking the sunlight, both physically and mentally, emotionally, it has effects. We know that the moon affects people. It affects the tides, and it affects the feminine cycle, and it affects people's mood and the animals and everything. So even doctors know not to perform unnecessary surgery during full moon, because our blood is gushing more than usual. So these are just 2 examples, but all of the planets and stars around us really have influence. And this is just the first level, to realize that we have different influences around us. And if we learn about these influences, we can just better understand what's happening. Yes, so for example, yes, we're now in a corona state. We want to have better understanding about it. So we open up the news and we check what's happening in the world, what's happening with the statistics. Okay, so if we are in a certain mood, we can also check with astrology to see what's taking place. This is just the first level. The second level is the research of knowledge that many ancient people talked about, with the famous sentence, as above, so below. The more we learn about the universe, we better understand ourselves, because things are working in the same way in the micro, and in the micro and macro. I don't know how to pronounce it, but micro and macro, inside, outside, it works the same way. So if, for example, we learn how the solar system works, we will also understand that it tells us about how the human system works. There's so much knowledge about that. Okay, we see that things repeat themselves in nature. The way a spiral is, it's the same if you look at a snail. It's the same if you look at the galaxy. It's the same if you look at the top of your head and the way the hair starts to grow. It's similar to life. You start something big and then it starts to grow, it spirals. Human connections. So there's a lot to learn about with this phrase of as above, so below. Now the third level is the actuality of meeting with huge forces, really connecting to huge celestial, universal forces that can really enhance us and change our lives.